the entourage effect is something in the cannabis space that is talked about often. And in Connecticut, we haven't quite seen a lot of innovation there just yet. And so what we're doing is really trying to bring out the best, not only in the THC dosage and the psychoactive effects that come along with it, but when you add CBD, CBN, and some live resin terpenes, you're actually going to enhance the experience for all of the ingredients in the dose that you're taking and actually maximize the benefit for the individual.
Welcome to the Ingredient Evolution, your go-to podcast for insights into the world of formulation and manufacturing, with a special focus on cannabis and cosmetics. Join your host and CEO of Elixir Ingredients, Dan Margineau, as we explore the cutting-edge science and innovation behind creating top-tier products.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Ingredients Podcast. I'm here with Lindsay Roth from the Happy Confection.
Hello. It's great to be here, and thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. Great to have you. Always love chatting with people and trying to find out more about them and their business and what they're doing to help people. So tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah, so my husband and I, we talked a little bit about our use of cannabis, and he shared with me that he would like to eventually work in the cannabis industry. And, fast forward 8 years later, here we are finally getting ready to launch our business, the Happy Confection, in the Connecticut market. And what we do is provide the best infused THC infused products to allow people to experience the plant in the way that works best for them, because we truly believe in the ability for cannabis to help people curate a life with more joy. It's in our name, the Happy Confection, but also, we as medical patients ourselves understand how transformative cannabis has been for us in addressing some common ailments, but also just feeling a bit more balanced and present in our lives.
Awesome. Those all sound like good motivators and good things. So make it more tailored to the individual rather than kind of a one size fits all approach.
Exactly. And
awesome.
We're launching in the Connecticut market, excited about being able to maybe introduce that consumer base to some more sophisticated blends, as well as offering options that aren't really accessible to that market yet. We're launching in a few weeks with a line of edibles, THC infused gems that are for the recreational and medical market. Connecticut specifically, I think, has really, launched well over the last year and a half for the recreational side. But in doing so, the medical patients have felt kind of left behind because there is a lack of innovation that they are experiencing in the product offerings that they have. And so on the medical side, we're going to be launching with megadose gummies. These will be 25 milligram THC with two different options. There'll be a CBD and CBN blend with some live resin terpenes that are intercalating to help you sleep. And then there'll also be a 25 milligram sativa blend that will just provide some uplifting stimulation. At the end of the day, people use the plant for different reasons. And on the medical side, 25 milligrams per serving is not something that is currently available on the market. And so we're excited to be able to offer that option to people that are using it medicinally. And then on the recreational side, I think that there's a lot of options in terms of the 5 milligram gummy. And we are launching with a microdose. And so we'll have 3 different SKUs with 2.5 milligrams of THC available in blends of CBD and CBN, along with indica leaning, live resin terpenes for something to kind of help you sleep. And then we'll have options also for CBD and CBG, which are really great for socializing, also just kind of relaxing and decompressing after a long day. But, also having some hybrid live resin terps to, again, bring out the best of the ingredients on the user side. And then we'll just have a straight 2.5 milligram THC option that will allow people just to take the edge off without maybe getting too overwhelmed with the psychoactive effects.
Wonderful.
At the end of, yeah, we really see ourselves as a brand that plays well with others. We're not trying to be the only game in town.
Yeah.
And I think that our recipes and blends are reflective of that. The entourage effect is something in the cannabis space that that is talked about often. And
Yeah.
in Connecticut, we haven't quite seen a lot of innovation there just yet. And so what we're doing is really trying to bring out the best, not only in the THC dosage and the psychoactive effects that come along with it, but when you add CBD, CBN, and some live resin terpenes, you're actually going to enhance the experience for all of the ingredients in the dose that you're taking, and actually maximize the benefit for the individual. And so we understand that not only can you use our products singularly, and we stand by having a good experience, but if somebody's taking a 5 milligram edible and they don't necessarily want to double their intake, maybe adding one of our edibles with 2.5 milligrams plus all of the terps and the benefits that come along with the additional cannabinoids to bring out the most in the products that they're consuming in general. And on the other side of the coin, a lot of people I think that we've been talking to in the market have been biting their 5 milligram gummies in half.
Yeah.
Because it's too much. And so instead of, having to kind of dose in that way, being able to not only have a less a weaker dose of THC, but then also to have these cannabinoids that are going to only help you direct towards the feeling that you're looking to get out of the experience.
Great. That sounds like, like you
Yeah.
said, plays well with others. So
Yeah.
it's nice to have that add-on effect.
Yeah. People have they tend to have like a bad brownie experience from their youth in like the millennial, Gen X, and boomer populations. And so sometimes edibles, especially in those age ranges, can get a bad rap because people are thinking about the days when cannabis wasn't legal and regulated. And ultimately, we want to help people utilize the plant in many different forms. And something that we have done from the outset with our recipes is include CBT in all of our blends. And what that's going to do is help you feel more grounded. It's going to take away a lot of that paranoia that people can sometimes feel when they're ingesting cannabis. And also, it's just going to help combat anxiety generally. And so that is something that I think also helps just further refine the experience for the consumer, so that the product that they're getting is going to give them the best possible outcome.
Yeah, you don't hear a lot about CBT, so that's a good one.
Yeah.
So I had, I mean, I know there's, depending on who you talk to, 120 to 140 different cannabinoids in the plant.
Hmm.
But like I said, I haven't heard a lot about CBT, so that's good to
Yeah.
bring up.
Yeah.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit about your operations, your manufacturing, that kind of side of things.
Yeah. So, um, my my co-founder and husband, Stephen, he has been a classically trained pastry chef, and working in high-end hospitality. Most recently, it's been a decade with the Ritz-Carlton at a few different properties there, and really, in the pandemic, like so many in that industry, found himself out of work and reevaluating what the next steps were going to be when the world
Yeah,
reopened. And the hospitality industry was already, I think, making the bottom line by cutting positions and putting more on more strained staff. And knowing that, it was kind of a non-starter to even think about going back into that industry. And so he started to um, explore options in the cannabis realm. We ended up, had made a connection in the industry years prior that ended up coming back around and asking if he'd be interested in a role with um, a Massachusetts-based production that was a vertical. They have a few dispensaries, and this would be managing the beverage um, and edibles kitchen for them. And so he took the opportunity, went and worked for them for a few years and
yeah,
got a lot of great experience there, not only learning about the plant and different blends, but being able to apply his knowledge in the science of candy making and building these recipes around food.
I'm sure
Um,
that's a good combination.
yes,
His skill set come
absolutely.
in with their skill set. So
Exactly. And, I think that that's also something that we're still kind of seeing come around in the cannabis realm is where people are aligning their knowledge of the plant with also the science around um, food and recipe building and how baking is very unforgivable. Um, when Stephen joined that company, there were, I think, a dozen people who had had his job prior in just a couple of short years.
well,
Um, and a big reason why was because there wasn't that knowledge about how to build recipes that um, are going to tape like some of the ingredients like gelatin and how the way in which you are mixing and preparing can really indicate, what that final product is going to taste and feel like. And so he was able to really create a line of gummies for them that, still to this day are on shelves and I think a point of pride for him for sure.
right.
And also, experiment with beverages and sodas and um, doing limited edition drops and special blends as well. And that's something that, I think he kind of nerds out about.
Yeah,
And from my standpoint, it's really fun to kind of brainstorm what we could do from a marketing standpoint and then watch that vision sort of take shape in a physical product. And that's kind
yeah,
of where like my marketing background and his experience with culinary and recipe building sort of comes together um, to produce what we have now with the Happy Confection.
awesome, awesome. And then, are you guys doing in-house manufacturing, or how's that?
So we are actually contracted. So Stephen now works for a company called Connecticut Contract Manufacturing,
Okay,
and he is overseeing their kitchen operations there. And when he was recruited for this position as part of the agreement, we were able to negotiate being able to launch our brand under their license. And so we
Awesome.
are another contract in the mix that he is producing. They also produce Wana, they produce Kiva, and they have some in-house white label brands that they have produced as well. And so, yeah, we're in production right now in Westbrook, Connecticut. We're excited to start distributing statewide by the end of the month. And, are initially going to be launching with a few dispensaries and really trying to take advantage of the fact that we are small but mighty and connect with consumers, get feedback, continue to refine our recipes so that we can put the best possible products out on the market for consumers in Connecticut and then eventually other markets as we expand.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You mentioned innovation a few times in our discussion here, and what kind of innovative technologies or ingredients or things have you guys been bringing in or are planning on bringing into the market?
Yeah. So I think that there's a few things. Definitely, while I think specific to the Connecticut market, we are launching with dosage that hasn't been seen yet in that
Right.
market specifically. But as you said, like CBT is something that I don't think many are looking at or investing in, and it is something that I think can not only be a really great marketing point to talk about with consumers, but it also is a way, in my opinion, to lead with a bit more care and precision so that you really are putting out products that people are going to want to use, but also that's going to make them have the best possible experience when consuming. And so CBT for us was something that we wanted to absolutely, right out of the gate, include in all of our blends. Something else that we're talking about doing is expanding to making our blends available as vape cartridges.
Okay.
And, while I think there's still a lot of research being done in this area, I believe it's the University of Michigan that is looking into like heavy metals and how those seep into plant product in disposable vapes. And, kind of, I think there'll be research in the coming years that comes out that might sort of shift perspectives a little bit. And so we're trying to stay ahead of that by looking into options that are more like ceramic and glass based instead of metal.
Okay.
So that again, like trying to lead with care and really taking seriously any products that we're putting out. And then we do have some exciting things in the mix regarding at home infusion and sort of allowing people to enjoy baked goods fresh out of the oven dosage that they can easily do themselves at home.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Is that something coming up that you don't want to get into too much? Or?
Yeah,
All right.
it's still in development, and
Okay.
so yeah, there's a little proprietary information there, but I'd be happy to come back and talk to you about it once we're launching.
Yeah.
That is definitely next up on the docket. So
Awesome. Yeah. Have you guys done anything from like nano perspective or looked at any of those technologies?
Yes, definitely. And that is, basically on our roadmap for product development. Definitely looking at nano infusions, so that nano emulsions, so that we can, have effects that take shape within about 15 minutes of consuming. So similar to what you would get from having a beer or a glass of wine, taking an edible and then feeling the effects pretty soon after. Yeah, I think that is another area that we want to get into is the fast acting as well. And so at this point, we're just trying to scale and do what our modestly raised capital allows us to do. And then we're
Yeah.
excited to reinvest in more product development and putting out even more options for people.
Awesome. Awesome. Anything we haven't hit on?
No, I mean, I think something else that is kind of interesting in our world right now is just, I would be remiss as a white woman sitting here as a CEO of a cannabis business to not raise um the issue of the fact that about 40,000 individuals, mostly from Black and Brown communities, that were unfairly targeted during the war on drugs era, are sitting in jail right now for cannabis related incarceration. And at the end of the day, we're committed as a organization to not only giving back in our communities that we serve, but also to um, galvanizing our community around advocacy and support for legalization, decriminalization, and expunging records and getting people that are serving time for cannabis related offenses back out into the world where they deserve to be. And so I look forward to having, that as a pivotal pillar of our marketing strategy as well, because, it's important for us to, continue to make noise and partner around that issue because we are coming from a place of privilege, strictly being, where we were raised and what we look like. Um, and that's something that I think is just critical to our mission as an organization, to be sure that we're constantly doing what we can to advance the equity and um, and honestly making sure that people who have been most impacted are allowed to be at the forefront um, of the industry and how it continues to move forward.
Yeah, I mean, I think having anybody in jail for a plant is pretty silly. Something that grows on the side of the road or in the mountain or, all over the place, essentially all over the place.
Yes, exactly.
And, of course you want equal opportunity to be able to, get involved and have those ventures happen. So,
Exactly.
definitely want to work on, that,
Advocacy. Yep.
yeah, just
It's
help
important.
help everything be a level playing field. So.
Yep. So we're
Wonderful.
excited. I mean, I think, in addition to the products that we talked about today and some of the things that are coming up, I also am looking forward to starting a line that is specific around supporting something locally in the community, having kind of like a cause marketing product baked into it. Whether it's like, I'm a queer person, and so whether it's, supporting a local LGBTQ organization, or whether it's benefiting, veterans groups or something related to mental health, having a product on shelves that consistently is going towards proceeds are going towards parts of the community that we serve is really important to me. In addition to what we are doing as an organization, in terms of directing, any kind of donations, as well as uh, leveraging our community to get loud about.
Yeah, it's important to give back. Where can people find you?
So we are at thehappyconfection.com. That's our website, and you can sign up for email there. That's the best way to kind of keep in touch with us.
Okay.
And we're also on all of the socials. Facebook, LinkedIn has been really great. as well as Instagram. Instagram, we're at the dot Happy Confection. It's our third handle, and appreciate your patience with us as we continue to navigate Meta and all of the unique challenges that promoting the plant has
A
on
good way to put
that platform.
They make it a little difficult sometimes.
Yeah, I'm paying for verification, so I'm hoping that kind of breaks the cycle a bit. But yeah,
Fingers crossed.
I
Well,
know.
wonderful. It was great speaking with you, and
Yes, you
we'll
too.
sign off. Thank you.
Awesome.